Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review for you guys. As we continue on with the My Hero Academia storyline, focusing on the Shoji and Koda, whole thing about mutants and everything. So yeah. Anyways, let's get to it. So this is chapter 372 titled Naked. Okay. So the chapter starts off with a flashback of Shoji and Koda going up to All Might and Aizawa saying, hey, can you station us at Central Hospital? And pretty much, they're like, wait, how'd you know about that? Because we never told you guys about that. And pretty much, Shoji says, well, that large fox lady told me about everything that was going on, over there, and she also and also I overheard some refugees mentioning and everything. Now, Shoji says, yeah, I heard refugees saying that there's some sort of call to action, because they found out about a group of heteromorphs going after the hospital. And Koda's whole thing is like, well, Shoji's going, then I want to go too. And Shoji, his whole thing is, standing back while this plays out would mean I could never call myself a hero. And Aizawa, we pretty much find out, granted them that whole wish and everything. And another talk with President Mike that President Mike's reminiscing on, and Aizawa goes on to say, we spread false rumors about where he was transferred, but the enemy didn't take the bait. So we find out that Aizawa, the heroes tried to throw the villains offside and say, okay, he's here, he's somewhere else, but the villains didn't take the bait. Preferably, that was more than likely All For One, because he's like the ultimate mastermind predictor. So of course he's like, nah, this is too easy. He's probably still there, at Central Hospital. So yeah. Anyways, the thing is, we continue to see, President Mike goes on to say, Yamada, I hate to ask, but can you be there to support the boys? Um, and but obviously, Aizawa couldn't be there, because he has his own mission to do. And President Mike, he's looking at Shoji and Spinner clashing, and President Mike goes on to say, no, this is Aizawa. They say quirks get stronger by the generation. These kids, no, these young men are already way stronger than we were back in our day, as the three Dumby goes. So yeah. Anyways, we see Koda command a bunch of birds to attack that one guy, and we find out that Koda pretty much, in a way, I guess you can say, had his quirk awakening. So we get a flashback with Koda saying, with his mom saying that one day, Koda's horns will grow. And with the horns, you'll be able to beam your thoughts and feelings to other animals that are even farther away. When we find out, how he and his dad and his mom first met, and his mom was pretty much ostracized, and people were treating her very rudely and mean. But his Koda's dad protected her and got pretty upset of the fact that you shouldn't discriminate against her because she has horns. Her horns are amazing and they make her who she is and everything. And pretty much his mom goes on to say, Koji, it's okay to be mad. Grow up to be a man who gets mad when people mock something or someone dear to you. And pretty much Shoji and Koda, they both do their whole thing, their special attacks, alongside President Mike, helping out with them too. And it looks like they take down their opposition. Now, Spinner honestly looks like he's taken down. And pretty much Shoji tells Spinner, what will you choose to protect with those scales and the giant body? Tell me, Spinner. The rest of you. And then he talks to the crowd. Shoji talks to the crowd. He says, the rest of you too. What are you hoping to protect with your gifts and your powers? Don't let them exploit your wounds. Pretty much saying, don't let All For One pretty much use the scars you came from your discrimination to turn against you and continue to have discrimination come towards your way. Because he makes the mention like your children may be the next ones. It's that whole thing about the next generation. You know, the previous generation. It's like, for example, your parents, they had their time when they were young. Their parents had to teach them their ways so then they could become the parents you know today. So then guess what? Your parents can then show you the ways when you're a kid as you're growing up to be ready to pass it on to the next generation after their generation is done. So then you pass on the tips and tricks, everything you've learned from your parents from the previous generation to the next new generation you have. And that's just common everyday life and everything right then and there. And even that's kind of real shit right there of trying to have this world be a better place, not having this world be a bunch of discrimination. So, have this whole, discrimination factor of not having discrimination anymore passed down to each and every generation, so that one day there is no discrimination amongst other human beings. So yes, and the thing is, Shoji continues, if I never felt in that river, they never would have hurt your face and made it all scary. Be better than mere avengers. And then that's when Spinner gets up, and Spinner recovers, and he's like, the grudge never fades, and screams this out. And he goes on to say, if heroes win the day, nothing will ever change. Spinner goes on to say, for the crime of walking in public, they sprayed me with pesticide, which is actually kind of fucked up when you think about it. When they hit us, we hit them back. Brethren, be heard and follow me. So he's like, I don't give a crap. Now I think some of it's got to do with the fact that right now he's somewhat berserk, but it seems like again he has some control, but he's still berserk at the end of the day. And he's telling them, don't listen to him. Just nothing's going to change, and nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change. You'll still be discriminated against, which even in the real world sense, there's times where it can feel like, things might never change, but you always have to have that hope and that belief that things will change and they will get better. So yeah, in the meantime, Spinner uses this opening to jump to Central Hospital and everything. So yeah, now Shoji makes the mention like he even got stronger now, and now he has the power to crack concrete. And then when Shoji looks down, he sees the other refugees, and they're just marching to follow Spinner. And some of the police members, they go on to say they're even more fired up. Too many of them, can't take much more. And all of a sudden, we just see a panel of a handgun. Now, I don't know if that's gonna mean that a police officer is going to shoot a civilian, going to shoot a mutant, but typically, when it gets to that, things never go right. And I think if a gunshot goes off where a mutant is killed, well, that's just gonna rile up the refugees, these rebellious mutants siding with Spinner even more. Spinner gets into the Central Hospital, crashes into the Central Hospital, and he remembers what All for One said, that Kurogiri was transferred to the research wing. Once you reach him, play a recording of either my or Tomura's voice. And Kurogiri's voice will bring this conflict to an end. So, yeah. We have it to where we see these doctors. They're all standing in solidarity, holding hands, right then and there, trying to protect Kurogiri, prevent Spinner from getting to Kurogiri. But even though they won't probably do anything, and yeah, so and we see one of the doctors is actually mutant. As well, because he looks like one of those. Have you ever played that one old game back in the day, Club Penguin? This guy literally looks like a character out of Club Penguin. I remember that shit being on like the freaking. Remember like that channel Jetix? My goodness, the good old days, huh? Now Spinner, he's telling himself that this is all for Tomura's Shake, and he will become a hero. And everything. And we get a semi flashback of Spinner as a kid, And it's the whole thing Spinner saying, I thought I never get to be anyone, but by following you, maybe I can really be someone. Shigaraki, just watch me. So we already know that Spinner looks up to Shigaraki so much because he wants Shigaraki to acknowledge him, to recognize him, and he wants Shigaraki to acknowledge him as somebody meaningful to society. And he goes on to say, I've got all my allies behind me, but when he looks behind, there's nobody there. So the thing is, we hear this voice, and the thing is, this voice goes on to make the mention, Shoji must have gotten through to them. And listen, that guy in there ain't gonna be your ace in the hole. And we find out it's President Mike. And the thing is, the chapter ends off with Spinner seeing Kurogiri, and he screams out Kurogiri, and obviously, what is it? So Spinner shouts out Kurogiri, but President Mike shouts out Shirakumo, and the chapter ends with just Kurogiri / Shirakumo's cloud still there. So it's kind of a thing. Who will will Kurogiri respond to? But that's where the chapter ends off. Another solid chapter in My Hero Academia. So I'll take it. Again, there is a break. So next week there will be no chapter, but the week after will be a chapter. But that's kind of where it's gonna be headed there. But other than that, that's kind of it. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on where the story could go. Your thoughts on the chapter. It's gonna be interesting to see, because there's always that rumor that Shirakumo is still in there. He potentially could still be alive. He's still in there. Because you remember that one moment when Aizawa and President Mike tried to interrogate Kurogiri, you could slightly see that Shirakumo is somewhat in there still. So we'll see who he resonates to the most, but it's gonna be interesting to see. But Horikoshi put us on a 2-week break, so we're gonna have to wait for that. But anyways, guys, hit that subscribe when you want to get more My Hero Academia content or the other anime content I upload to the channel and stuff like that. But till then, guys, catch you guys next video. Peace.